Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be discussing yet another very concerning addition to Fortnite and how it plays into the major theme of Epic continuing to do everything in their power to counter building. So for those of you guys unaware, a new item was added into Battle Royale on December 30th in Content Update 7.10 number 2. So this content update had been scheduled for the 30th since last week. However, we thought for sure that this update was going to give us the drift board, which, if you recall, was kinda added into the game about a week ago, but then immediately removed. Instead of the drift board though, we got a different new item named the boombox. And when I woke up today and checked Twitter, this is what I saw from the official Fortnite Twitter account announcing this new item. Drop the base, destroy enemy structures with the newest item addition to Battle Royale, the boombox. And when I saw that description specifically mentioning destroying enemy structures, I basically just shook my head and sighed. So without further ado, let's get right into discussing that, as well as the other super controversial item slash feature in Fortnite at the moment. Alright, so according directly to the patch notes, this describes what exactly the boombox does in game. Activate to create powerful blasts of music that deal structure damage in a large area. Newly built walls in the radius of the box are destroyed with every blast. Shoot the boombox to stop its effects. Some other important information that wasn't included in the patch notes for whatever reason: the boombox is purple rarity, it drops in stacks of 2, and each boombox has 600 total health. And I'll just play a quick little clip right now that just shows kinda how it works, in case you haven't seen it in action yet. So as you guys can see, this item is simply a structure destroying beast. The radius on it isn't really huge, but it's definitely large enough to be absolutely dominant in a lot of situations. And as you just saw in that clip, it isn't like it only destroys newly built structures or destroys structures somewhat slowly. No. If there is any kind of structure within the boombox's range, it's going down, and it's going down almost instantly. Here's another quick little clip of me using the boombox against an actual player in-game. And keep in mind, this clip is literally my first time ever using the item, so I just kinda threw it down and hoped for the best. So as made obvious by that clip, this boombox is simply way too overpowered. I hit that guy with a few AR shots earlier, beat him to high ground, and then put some more damage on him, so we decided to make the smart play and turtle up in a 1x1 while he healed up. All I had to do was throw that boombox anywhere near the middle of the structure, and the entire thing came down and prevented him from any further building in the immediate area. I'm not sure if anybody has made this comparison yet, but the boombox is basically like a C4 from Season 5 that is just constantly exploding over and over again. It's almost totally uncounterable. And I know what someone's gonna say: oh, how is it uncounterable? You can just shoot at it and destroy it. Yes, in theory you could just shoot at it and destroy it, but let me tell you the 4 reasons why in most situations that simply isn't possible. First off, the boombox is a relatively small object that can be really hard to locate in any kind of chaotic fight. Second, even if you can locate the boombox despite all the craziness going on around you, it has 600 health, which is a ridiculously high amount for such a small object. Third, since the boombox destroys all structures within its range, you can't even build to protect yourself while shooting at it. So any player that's even somewhat decent is going to hear you shooting at it and just pop out and easily kill you. And finally, if by some miracle you are able to destroy the boombox, they spawn in stacks of 2, so the player will probably just throw his second one down. Now, I believe that Epic's intention with adding this boombox was to eliminate that exact type of turtling that you saw the enemy try to do in that second clip. But Epic, this is definitely not the right way to go about it. At this point in Fortnite's life, turtling is simply a necessary part of the game. It's actually a skill that I believe is super underappreciated and is one of the main things that actually separates the good Fortnite players from the great Fortnite players. The addition of the boombox is plain and simple going way overboard. Although people certainly don't like it, we can live with an item like dynamite. It was obviously added as an item for newer players, but I'd say it's probably more annoying than it is overpowered. But this boombox is honestly probably closer to being as overpowered as the Infinity Blade than it is to being like dynamite. And that's obviously a major problem for the experienced players that play this game. But that's enough about the boombox for now. I think you're going to be hearing a ton of people complaining about it over the next few days, and hopefully major changes will be made. Now, I want to talk about the other super controversial item in Fortnite right now, the plane. The plane has easily been the most popular and polarizing topic of discussion within the entire Fortnite community since the beginning of Season 7. When the planes were first added into Fortnite, I think everybody mainly agreed that they were fairly overpowered. Maybe not game-breakingly overpowered, but definitely way too strong, especially for how many of them spawned on the map. And this feedback was definitely communicated fairly quickly to Epic, and it led to them making multiple changes as an attempt to keep them balanced and to keep everybody happy. Have those balance changes worked? Well, based on my experience, and I think this is the most common opinion, the answer is no. And the reasons why they haven't worked is actually pretty funny and kinda interesting. So the biggest nerf that the plane has received since being added into the game is the fact that players now take damage when the plane is destroyed. Initially, players took no damage. Then in update 7.01, this was bumped up to 25 damage, and then in the most recent update 7.10, it was bumped up again to 50 damage. Now this is actually a change that a lot of people were asking for, and in theory it should have been a pretty effective nerf, but it wasn't, and here's why. In the same update where damage dealt to players from a destroyed plane was changed to 50, there was another small thing mentioned that not many people even noticed at first. At the request of a lot of players, Fortnite added a vehicle health bar above the player's shield bar. Before this, you really wouldn't ever know the exact health of your plane, but now because of that change, you always do. So here's the funny/sad thing about all of that. 50 damage to players who get their plane shot down is a legitimately considerable amount, and in a perfect world would probably make players flying in planes play a lot less fearlessly aggressive, which is exactly what we want. But because of the fact that now you can always see the exact health of your plane, anyone with even half a brain is just going to jump out as soon as their plane's health gets low to prevent taking that 50 damage from having their plane destroyed. So that nerf ended up being pretty much pointless, which is a major issue because it seems that Epic was really relying on that damage buff to be the thing that finally made planes balanced. But even though that was a flop, there were some other notable plane nerfs contained in patch 7.10. Maybe those were a bit more effective? So there were actually 3 separate ones. Stormwings now take 50% more damage from hitting objects. Boosting now reduces the damage taken from impacts by 50%. Previously, boosting prevented all impact damage. And finally, Stormwings will now take more damage from destroying structures by running through them. So that does sound like a lot, and it was smart of Epic to really focus on limiting the structure destroying potential of the plane. But I have a question for you guys regarding these changes specifically. Have you honestly even noticed them? Now, I'm not saying that these are like fake changes or anything, because they definitely aren't. It's just that even though the damage numbers were increased for actions like hitting objects and destroying structures, the damage done still feels really minimal and not even noticeable in most situations. And that seems to be the consensus of what I'm seeing the majority of other players saying as well. So now, despite Epic's best effort, the plane hate within the community is pretty much at an all-time high right now. You still have players flying around without a care in the world, just using their plane to plow through every build fight they see. And I personally think that there's almost no chance planes will ever be vaulted. They're basically the signature edition of Season 7. Seriously, if you load up Fortnite right now on console, the image you see as the game is loading is a bunch of of Season 7 Battle Pass skins flying on a plane. So if vaulting isn't an option, at least for Season 7, Epic needs to continue to nerf the planes in a considerable way, because the current state of planes mixed with the boombox is totally killing building, which is obviously the #1 feature that makes Fortnite so unique and enjoyable. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down the comment section below. I want to hear all of your thoughts on the new boombox and the current state of planes in Fortnite. I'm guessing I'm going to hear mostly overwhelmingly negative stuff, but let me hear it anyway. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.